Welcome, wanderers of the dark and seekers of the unknown, to Whispers on the Asphalt, your go-to channel for spine-tingling tales and haunted histories. Here, we explore the eerie corners of the world where shadows stretch longer than they should and the hum of tires on pavement is often accompanied by whispers from beyond. Today, we embark on a chilling journey along some of the most haunted highways in the Pacific Northwest, a region renowned for its breathtaking landscapes, dense forests, and a rich tapestry of folklore that blurs the line between myth and reality. The Pacific Northwest, with its mist-shrouded mountains, winding coastal roads, and endless stretches of wilderness, has long been a breeding ground for ghostly legends and unexplained phenomena. These highways, carved through rugged terrain and steeped in history, are more than mere conduits for travel. They are corridors of mystery, where the past lingers like fog over a moonlit lake. From spectral hitchhikers to phantom vehicles, from cursed landmarks to blood-soaked stretches of asphalt, these roads hold secrets that defy explanation and challenge the boundaries of belief. In this two-part series, we will peel back the layers of the supernatural, revealing the haunting stories behind the region's most infamous routes. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, prepare to have your curiosity piqued and your courage tested as we delve into the unknown. So buckle up, keep your headlights on, and join us as we navigate the shadowy highways of the Pacific Northwest. Let the journey begin. The Baker Hotel, ghosts of mineral wells. Nestled in the quaint town of Mineral Wells, Texas, the Baker Hotel stands as both a relic of opulence and a beacon of the supernatural. Opened in 1929 during the height of the Great Depression, this grand establishment was designed to cater to wealthy travelers seeking relaxation and rejuvenation at the nearby mineral springs. With its elegant Art Deco architecture, luxurious amenities, and sweeping views of the surrounding hills, the Baker quickly became one of the most prestigious hotels in the Southwest. Celebrities such as Judy Garland, Clark Gable, and even President Franklin D. Roosevelt graced its halls, adding to its glamorous allure. Yet, beneath its polished surface, the hotel harbors a darker narrative, one steeped in tragedy, mystery, and haunting encounters. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Baker Hotel revolves around the spirit of a young woman named Kate, believed to be a former guest who took her own life in room 412. According to local lore, Kate fell deeply in love with a man she met during her stay at the hotel, only to discover he was already married. Heartbroken and unable to bear the pain of rejection, she ended her life by jumping from the balcony of her room. Since then, guests occupying room 412 have reported strange occurrences, including the sound of faint sobbing late at night and the sensation of being watched while lying in bed. Some claim to see the figure of a woman dressed in 1930s attire standing near the window, her face obscured by shadow, before vanishing without a trace. Another prominent ghost said to haunt the Baker is that of a bellhop who died under mysterious circumstances in the early 1950s. Employees and visitors alike describe seeing a man in a vintage uniform pushing a luggage cart through the hallways, only to disappear when approached. Others recount hearing the rhythmic clatter of footsteps echoing through empty corridors, accompanied by the jingle of keys. On occasion, guests have reported items mysteriously moving within their rooms, as though someone, or something, is tidying up after them. One particularly chilling account comes from a housekeeper who swore she felt cold fingers brush against her neck while cleaning one of the upper floor suites, followed by the distinct sound of laughter fading into silence. The hotel's basement, once used for storage and maintenance, has also become a hot spot for paranormal activity. Stories abound of workers encountering shadowy figures lurking in the dimly lit passageways, their forms shifting unnaturally as if defying the laws of physics. Others describe hearing muffled conversations and metallic clangs emanating from empty rooms, despite no one else being present. During renovations in the 1980s, construction crews refused to work in certain areas after repeatedly experiencing equipment malfunctions and tools flying off shelves seemingly of their own accord. Paranormal investigators who have explored the space report capturing EVP, electronic voice phenomenon, recordings of disembodied voices whispering cryptic phrases like, "Get out," or "Leave me alone." Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of the Baker Hotel's haunting is its connection to the mineral springs themselves. Long before the hotel's construction, Native American tribes revered the waters for their supposed healing properties. However, some believe the springs also carry a curse, attracting negative energies that seep into the surrounding area. Visitors staying at the Baker often complain of vivid nightmares involving drowning or being pulled underwater, waking up drenched in sweat and gasping for air. Others describe feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them, as though unseen hands are holding them down. These experiences are so frequent that the hotel earned a reputation as a magnet for paranormal activity, drawing curious thrill-seekers and seasoned investigators alike. Despite its closure in 1972 due to financial difficulties, the Baker Hotel remains a focal point of interest for those fascinated by the supernatural. Efforts to restore the building have been met with mixed success, as rumors of hauntings deter potential investors and developers. Yet, for those brave enough to venture inside, the promise of encountering Kate, the bellhop, or any number of other spectral residents proves irresistible. Guided ghost tours offer participants the chance to explore the hotel's darker side, complete with EMF detectors, thermal cameras, and first-hand accounts from previous visitors. Whether you're drawn by the glamour of its heyday or the thrill of peeling back the layers of its haunted history, the Baker Hotel offers an unforgettable experience where the boundaries between past and present blur, and the spirits of those who came before refuse to fade quietly into oblivion. The Alamo, echoes of battle and beyond. In the heart of San Antonio, Texas, stands the Alamo, a site synonymous with heroism, sacrifice, and bloodshed. This historic mission-turned-fortress is best known for the pivotal battle fought there in 1836, during which a small band of Texan defenders made their final stand against overwhelming Mexican forces. While the battle itself lasted only 13 days, its legacy has endured for nearly 2 centuries, cementing the Alamo's status as a symbol of resistance and resilience. Yet, beneath its storied history lies another layer, one steeped in whispers of the supernatural. For many who visit the Alamo, the echoes of war are not confined to textbooks and monuments. They reverberate through the very walls, carried by the restless spirits of those who perished in the conflict. One of the most frequently reported phenomena involves the apparition of a soldier clad in tattered 19th-century military garb. Witnesses describe seeing this spectral figure pacing along the perimeter of the compound, his rifle slung over his shoulder as though perpetually on guard. Some claim to hear the rhythmic cadence of boots striking stone, accompanied by faint murmurs of commands issued in Spanish. Others recount moments when the air grows heavy with the acrid scent of gunpowder, transporting them momentarily to the chaos of battle. These encounters are so vivid that some visitors mistake the apparitions for reenactors until they realize no living person could replicate the ethereal quality of their presence. The chapel, perhaps the most iconic structure within the Alamo complex, is another focal point of paranormal activity. Many believe it serves as a conduit for the spirits of fallen defenders, who continue to linger in the sacred space. Tour guides and staff members often speak of hearing disembodied voices reciting prayers or hymns in Latin, languages spoken during the mission's original use as a religious sanctuary. At night, when the crowds disperse and silence envelopes the grounds, security personnel have reported seeing faint glimmers of light dancing across the altar, reminiscent of candles lit for evening services. One particularly chilling account comes from a janitorial worker who swore he felt an icy hand grip his shoulder while cleaning the chapel, only to turn and find himself utterly alone. Beyond the confines of the main buildings, the surrounding grounds hold their own share of eerie tales. Visitors strolling through the courtyard have described feeling sudden drops in temperature, as though walking through invisible cold spots. Others report seeing shadowy figures darting between trees or disappearing into the darkness of the gardens. Some attribute these sightings to the countless civilians, women, children, and elderly individuals who sought refuge within the Alamo's walls during the siege, only to meet tragic ends alongside the soldiers. Their spirits, too, seem bound to the land, unable or unwilling to move on from the horrors they witnessed. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Alamo describe it as a veritable hotbed of supernatural energy. Thermal imaging cameras reveal inexplicable heat signatures concentrated in specific areas, particularly near the long barracks and the cenotaph dedicated to the fallen defenders. Audio recordings capture faint whispers speaking in multiple languages, interspersed with the distant boom of cannon fire and the clash of swords. The Butterfield Stagecoach Inn, whispers of the frontier tucked away in the rugged outskirts of Salado, Texas. The Butterfield Stagecoach Inn stands as a testament to the grit and determination of pioneers who braved the untamed frontier. Established in 1859 as a stop along the famed Butterfield Overland Mail Route, this humble inn provided weary travelers with shelter, sustenance, and a brief respite from the unforgiving wilderness. Its weathered wooden beams and creaking floors bear witness to decades of human drama, love, loss, betrayal, all played out against the backdrop of a rapidly changing America. Yet beneath its rustic charm lies a darker narrative, one steeped in tragedy, violence, and the restless spirits of those who never truly left point. One of the most haunting tales tied to the Butterfield Stagecoach Inn centers around Sarah Mackenzie, a young woman who worked as a cook during the Civil War era. Described as kind-hearted yet fiercely independent, Sarah fell victim to the advances of a ruthless bounty hunter passing through the inn. When she rebuffed his advances, he retaliated violently, leaving her mortally wounded in the kitchen. Legend has it that Sarah's spirit remains tethered to the spot where she drew her last breath, unable to forgive or forget the brutality she endured. Guests staying in rooms adjacent to the old kitchen frequently report hearing faint sobs mingled with the clinking of pots and pans, as though Sarah were still preparing meals long after her death. Others claim to see her ghostly figure hovering near the hearth, her translucent hands clutching at her abdomen as though reliving the fatal wound. Adding to the inn's spectral roster is the ghost of Jasper Tully, a stagecoach driver who met his end in a fiery accident outside the property. Jasper's charred remains were discovered in the wreckage of his overturned coach, which had been set ablaze by lightning during a fierce storm. Since then, employees tasked with maintaining the stable area have reported seeing a shadowy figure cloaked in smoke, limping toward the barn as though searching for solace. The scent of burning wood permeates the air whenever Jasper's presence is felt, prompting staff to double-check for stray embers despite knowing none exist. One particularly chilling incident involved a group of tourists staying overnight at the inn, who swore they saw a man engulfed in flames stagger past their window before vanishing into thin air. The upstairs bedrooms, once reserved for weary travelers seeking rest, have become another focal point of paranormal activity. Patrons occupying these rooms often recount bizarre occurrences that defy logical explanation. Bedsheets twist impossibly tight around limbs, as though restrained by unseen hands. Lights flicker unpredictably, casting eerie shadows across cracked plaster walls. Some guests awaken to find their belongings rearranged or their clothes inexplicably damp, as though subjected to rainfall indoors. One couple staying in room 7 claimed to feel an oppressive weight pressing down on them, accompanied by the sensation of cold fingers brushing against their cheeks. When they turned on the bedside lamp, they discovered a puddle of water pooling on the floor, despite no plumbing leaks reported anywhere nearby. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Butterfield Stagecoach and describe it as a labyrinth of supernatural energy, with certain areas pulsating with heightened activity. Electromagnetic field, EMF, meters register unusual spikes near the kitchen, stable, and second-floor hallway. Thermal cameras reveal significant temperature drops concentrated in specific locations, suggesting the presence of entities capable of manipulating their surroundings. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery came during an overnight investigation conducted by a team of researchers. Audio recordings captured faint whispers pleading for help, interspersed with the sound of galloping hooves and the crackling of flames. One investigator even photographed what appears to be a translucent stagecoach suspended midair above the driveway, an image that continues to baffle experts and enthusiasts alike. Despite its haunted reputation, or perhaps because of it, the Butterfield Stagecoach Inn remains a popular destination for history buffs and thrill-seekers alike. Owners make no secret of its spectral inhabitants, instead embracing them as part of the property's unique appeal. For those bold enough to book a stay, the opportunity to encounter Sarah, Jasper, or any number of other restless spirits proves irresistible. Guided ghost tours offer participants the chance to explore the inn's darker side, complete with candlelit vigils and first-hand accounts from previous visitors. Whether you're drawn by the romance of the Old West or the thrill of confronting the unknown, the Butterfield stagecoach and promises an unforgettable experience where the line between past and present blurs, and the ghosts of the frontier refuse to fade quietly into oblivion. The Waco Suspension Bridge, shadows beneath the steel spanning the Brazos River in Waco, Texas. The Waco Suspension Bridge stands as both an engineering marvel and a chilling gateway to the supernatural. Completed in 1870, this iconic structure was once the longest single-span suspension bridge west of the Mississippi, serving as a vital artery for commerce and travel during the post-Civil War era. Merchants, settlers, and cattle drivers crossed its steel cables daily, their wagons laden with goods destined for markets far and wide. Yet beneath its utilitarian purpose lies a darker history, one marked by accidents, suicides, and unexplained disappearances that have transformed the bridge into a nexus of paranormal activity. One of the most infamous incidents occurred in 1915, when a young woman named Eliza Hartley leapt to her death from the highest point of the bridge. According to local accounts, Eliza had been jilted by her fiancé, who abandoned her shortly before their wedding. Consumed by despair, she scaled the railing on a moonless night and plunged into the murky waters below. Her body was never recovered, leading to speculation that the river's strong currents carried her remains far downstream. Since then, visitors crossing the bridge at dusk have reported seeing a figure perched precariously atop the railing, her silhouette illuminated by the faint glow of streetlights. Some claim to hear her anguished cries echoing over the water, only to vanish when approached. Adding to the bridge's haunted reputation are the numerous reports of shadowy figures wandering its length. Pedestrians describe encountering a gaunt man dressed in tattered clothing, his face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. He moves slowly, dragging his feet as though weighed down by invisible chains. Others recount spotting children playing tag near the support beams, giggling softly before disappearing without a trace. These apparitions are often accompanied by an overwhelming sense of dread, as though the air itself grows heavier with each step taken closer to the center of the span. The underside of the bridge, accessible via narrow catwalks used for maintenance, has become another hotspot for paranormal activity. Workers tasked with inspecting the steel cables and rivets frequently report hearing muffled screams emanating from the riverbank, despite no one being present. Tools left unattended sometimes go missing, only to reappear hours later in places impossible for humans to reach. One particularly harrowing account comes from a repair crew who swore they felt icy fingers gripping their ankles while descending the ladder, forcing them to scramble back up in panic. To this day, few volunteers agree to undertake repairs after sunset, citing an irrational fear of what might lurk in the shadows below. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Waco Suspension Bridge describe it as a veritable vortex of supernatural energy. Thermal imaging cameras reveal inexplicable cold spots concentrated near the center of the span, where temperatures can drop dramatically within seconds. Audio recordings capture faint whispers speaking in fragmented sentences, interspersed with the sound of rushing water and creaking metal. Perhaps the most compelling evidence came during a live investigation broadcast online. Viewers watching the feed spotted a translucent figure dangling from the railing, its form swaying gently in the breeze before dissolving into mist, an image that has since become a staple of paranormal forums worldwide. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted allure, the Waco Suspension Bridge remains a beloved landmark, attracting tourists eager to glimpse a piece of Texas history. For those brave enough to cross its expanse after dark, the promise of encountering Eliza, the shadowy man, or any number of other spectral residents proves irresistible. Guided ghost tours offer participants the chance to explore the bridge's darker side, complete with handheld lanterns and first-hand accounts from previous visitors. Whether you're drawn by the romance of its construction or the thrill of confronting the unknown, the Waco Suspension Bridge promises an unforgettable experience where the line between past and present blurs, and the spirits of those who came before refuse to fade quietly into oblivion. The Jefferson Hotel. Elegance entangled with the supernatural. Nestled in the heart of downtown Dallas, the Jefferson Hotel stands as a monument to luxury and refinement, its grandeur reflecting the opulence of early 20th century Texas. Built in 1912 by oil tycoon William Jefferson, the hotel quickly became a hub for high society, hosting presidents, industrialists, and Hollywood stars alike. Its marble-clad lobby, crystal chandeliers, and ornate ballrooms exuded an air of sophistication that attracted the elite from across the nation. Yet beneath its polished facade lay a darker narrative, one steeped in scandal, heartbreak, and the restless spirits of those who once called it home. One of the most enduring legends tied to the Jefferson Hotel revolves around Eleanor Devereaux, the daughter of a prominent Dallas family, who lived in the penthouse suite during the Roaring Twenties. Known for her beauty and vivacious personality, Eleanor became embroiled in a torrid affair with a married businessman staying at the hotel. When the relationship soured, Eleanor allegedly took her own life by overdosing on sleeping pills in her bedroom. Since then, guests occupying the penthouse have reported strange occurrences, including the faint scent of lavender perfume wafting through the air and the sound of high heels clicking across the hardwood floors. Some claim to see a woman in a flapper dress gazing wistfully out the window, her reflection visible in the glass even when no one is physically present. Another prominent figure in the hotel's haunted lore is James Whittaker, a disgraced politician who checked into the Jefferson in 1934 following a public scandal. Consumed by guilt and paranoia, Whittaker barricaded himself in room 308, refusing to leave or accept visitors. Days later, his body was discovered slumped over a desk littered with torn documents and empty liquor bottles. Since then, guests occupying room 308 have reported feeling an overwhelming sense of dread, accompanied by the stench of stale alcohol and the sound of papers rustling violently in the dead of night. Some claim to catch glimpses of a gaunt man pacing anxiously in front of the window, his face obscured by shadows. The hotel's basement, once used as storage for fine wines and imported goods, has also become a focal point of paranormal activity. Stories abound of workers vanishing mysteriously while retrieving crates, their bodies never found. Modern-day employees tasked with cleaning the area describe hearing chains rattling and heavy footsteps echoing through the cavernous space, though no one else is present. Some claim to see shadowy figures dragging invisible loads, their movements jerky and unnatural. A particularly chilling account comes from a maintenance worker who swore he felt cold metal cuffs snap around his wrists, pulling him backward toward the darkness before releasing him abruptly. Overnight visitors to the Jefferson frequently recount bizarre experiences that defy logical explanation. Lights flicker unpredictably, especially in hallways leading to the older sections of the building. Doors slam shut on their own, and the scent of cigar smoke wafts through the air despite the hotel's strict no-smoking policy. One guest described waking up to find his reflection in the mirror staring back at him, but not quite matching his movements, as if another entity stood behind him, mimicking his actions. Another recounted seeing a man in a dusty miner's outfit standing at the foot of her bed, his hollow eyes boring into hers before vanishing without a sound. Paranormal investigators who have explored the Jefferson's walls have captured compelling evidence of its supernatural inhabitants. Thermal imaging cameras reveal cold spots concentrated in specific areas, including room 308 and the basement wine cellar. Electromagnetic field, EMF, meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to the original owners. Perhaps the most unsettling discovery came during a live investigation broadcast online. Viewers watching the feed spotted a translucent figure darting across the screen in real time, prompting widespread speculation about the nature of the entities haunting the Jefferson, despite its haunted reputation, or perhaps because of it. The Jefferson Hotel remains a popular destination for history enthusiasts and thrill-seekers alike. Its rich tapestry of human drama, interwoven with tragedy and loss, creates an atmosphere unlike any other. For those brave enough to spend the night, the opportunity to confront the ghosts of Texas' tumultuous past offers both terror and fascination. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the echoes of the Jazz Age and the restless spirits it left behind. As we delve deeper into the haunted histories of Texas' most infamous locations, unmistakable patterns emerge, weaving a tapestry of eerie consistency that transcends geography and era. These recurring themes are not mere coincidences but reflections of universal truths about human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the indelible marks left behind by tragedy. From the spectral echoes of battle at the Alamo to the mournful cries of lovers betrayed at the Jefferson Hotel, These sites share commonalities that bind them together in a chorus of sorrow and suspense. One dominant motif is the concept of unfinished business, a thread that runs through nearly every haunted tale. Whether it's the soldiers of the Alamo still guarding their posts, the jilted lover leaping from the Waco suspension bridge, or the disgraced politician barricaded in room 308 of the Jefferson Hotel, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unresolved. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, underscoring humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic structures like the Butterfield Stagecoach Inn and the Baker Hotel, with their labyrinthine layouts, thick walls, and hidden alcoves, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: kitchens where violence unfolded, bedrooms where relationships ended, or bridges where lives were tragically cut short. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing visitors to confront the unknown. The use of mirrors, a recurring element in stories from the Jefferson Hotel and the Baker Hotel, adds another layer of psychological tension, as reflections distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each location's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The wartime brutality embedded in the Alamo's DNA contrasts sharply with the glamorous yet tragic lives immortalized at the Jefferson Hotel. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted sites transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint strains of music in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted places, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting,